And we had the flexibility to do things on our own as well, or as a whole group. So, and then we met up for dinner as a group at the end of the day. So it was good. It was great.
Okay, thanks. And what about you, Sharon?
Yeah, I'm not an experienced traveller at all. So a whole lost somewhere, I'm sure that didn't happen. So it worked out really well, and I got to see a lot of stuff that I would never have found on my own. And also it was a great support group as far as the horse riding went. Like, we were all watching one another's lessons and cheering one another on.
Great, yeah. And did you find it fairly convenient? Everything was arranged so you don't have to worry about anything? That was all good? Enjoyed that?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. It was.
I wouldn't have had a go, and heaven knows where I would have ended up.
Yeah, it was handy having our tickets all organised, and
I'd probably still be lost there without Tanya organising everything.
And what about the food and drink? Like, we went to a lot of the tapas bars and beautiful restaurants. How did you find the food? I'll start with you, Glenda.
Loved so much of it. I've never eaten so much seafood. I couldn't get enough of it. We went to the most beautiful little bars, and some of the restaurants attached to the markets were just unbelievable. But even just when we were at Carmona, when we were riding, the lunches there were like nothing I've ever had before. They were just sensational. They were so beautiful.
And they had the paella on the Friday, which was amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
What about you, Sue? Because you've got a special diet. How did you find the food?
Yes, no, the food was wonderful, and you could choose whatever you wanted to suit, your dietary needs. So it was all beautiful, fresh seafood, and the markets were wonderful, and just seeing all the different types of meals and different sorts of cuisine was wonderful. Yeah, lots of beautiful fresh vegetables, and everything was fresh and beautifully cooked. So it was really nice.
Yeah, great. And what about you, Sharon? How did you find the food?
Yeah, I love the eating out, the tapas and the cafes. Like, I never had a bad meal or even a mediocre meal, I don't think.
Yeah.
And at the riding, the lunches we had, it was like just amazing home cooking. It was different to what we were getting in the restaurants. It was like really good home cooking, which was lovely as well.
And you didn't you have in like Toledo, you tried that cold soup?
Yeah, gazpacho. That's, I say, I'm not as adventurous as Gwenda with the octopus and all those sorts of shellfish and heaven knows what were around at the tapas, but my big adventure was gazpacho, like cold soup. Yuck, but it was absolutely gorgeous. I loved it. I got so excited.
So the main reason for going to Spain was a riding holiday. Now, tell us about the horses and the lessons and everything to do with the riding. I'll start with you, Sue.
Yes, well, I felt really safe on the horses. They were lovely, beautifully educated. I felt comfortable, and we were able to swap the horses if we needed to. But the trail riding was beautiful. And we got to, nice and relaxing, we got to see all the countryside, and we got a bit of educational local history, while we were going along. So there wasn't any pressure or to gallop or anything like that, dangerous. So we also went on the beach ride. They were different horses, but it was quite hot, but it was lovely beach sceneries. So, and of course the dressage horses were different horses again, and they were and you got very, very good lessons, and I still remember all the things that I was taught, back then. So it was fabulous.
Yeah. And what about you, Sharon?
Yeah, I loved my horses too. Like, in the morning we'd do a trail ride, and as Sue was saying, there was no pressure. Like, the group sort of met everyone's needs. Like, I was never really scared like the horses were going to take off or anything. It all went quite smoothly. And in the afternoon, they were able to sort of cater to the different levels. Like, I'd say I was the dummy of the group, but stop laughing. Whatever. It was interesting because since I've been home, I've spoken to an instructor, and a couple of times I've mentioned like what a strong connection there was between the horse's mouth and my hand, but the horse wasn't heavy. And my instructor was saying, it's so hard to explain that feeling to someone if they haven't felt it.
Yes.
You know, to tell a person this is what you need to feel to have a horse on the bit. And I think perhaps different riders wanted to experience different things, so they knew what they were looking for to get that. And I remember one of the women wanted to do the Spanish walk, and sure enough, they had her doing the Spanish walk.
Yeah. What about you, Glenda? How did you find the riding?
I absolutely loved it. The standard of care with the horses is unbelievable. The grooms do an amazing job. Your horse is beautifully presented every day, and the lessons were amazing. I mean, I'd had a 35-year break from dressage. I'd just been belting through the mountains, just riding.
Yeah.
And it just gave me the kickstart I needed to get back to competing and progressing with my dressage. The horse I rode was beautifully educated, and it allowed me to feel where I want to go with my horse, and we're getting very close to there now.
Yeah.
And it's all because I got that kickstart to remember what it feels like to ride a horse at that level. And yeah, the teaching was absolutely brilliant. Vivi, I swear, has eyes in the back of her head. Doesn't matter where you were in the arena and how many people she was teaching, she knew if you were slacking off. She's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, great. And I think I went on a different trail ride to you, but we shared the same trail ride horse, Barry.
Yes.
Wonderful.
He was gorgeous. He was so big and so sweet. I mean, I looked up there and I just thought, I'm not getting off while we're out because I will never get back on. But there was always the bridge and stuff to stand on, so that was fine.
Yeah, and he was like riding a sofa. He was just so comfortable.
He was so beautiful, wasn't he? Just absolutely glorious. But still, like with a much higher level of education than what we expect to trail horses here.
Definitely, yeah. And also on the Tuesday, each week when Apona has a 7-day riding program, they always go to the Spanish riding school. So we visited and we saw a show. How did you find that, Glenda?
Oh, it's goosebumps from the time you arrive and all the way through. It's something, I mean, most horse people dream of going and seeing a show like that, and it ticks all the boxes. It was unbelievable. They were beautiful. We were right in the front, and you could smell the horses going by. And it was everything you'd ever dream of that kind of performance. The skill of the riders and the stunning horses was, like nothing else I've ever seen. And, I've seen it twice now, and, I could quite happily go and watch it again any day. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, I've seen it probably 4 times now, and I could still go again.
Yeah.
What about
and
you?
The opportunity. Yeah. So
yes, even just watching them warm up too outside, and the beautiful buildings, and to see all the different sort of saddles, and the traditional saddles, and just how beautiful they performed. It was just absolutely amazing. And how they can remember their maneuvers. It's just incredible. It was very, very incredible.
What about you, Sharon?
Yeah, I found it was a great experience. Like the show itself, we had great seats. We could see absolutely everything that was happening, and it was all quite perfect, all the synchronization and the presentation of the horses. And I also really enjoyed just seeing them out in the magnificent grounds that surrounded the the venue, watching instructors ride and also teach other riders, give them lessons on these amazing looking horses, and just tweaking the riders and tweaking the horse I think I enjoyed that as much as the performance, actually. Like to see real people out there having a go at it.
Yeah, and they had the saddlery as well, and they had the museum, which is below the palace. That was quite interesting as well. Yeah, no, it's great. So anyway, is there a favourite standout thing you remember from Spain, Glenda?
Oh, I mean, apart from the riding, which is so obvious, I mean, that was just incredible. The horses were amazing. Fernando was just gorgeous. Vivi was lovely. All of the staff there were amazing. But just when the group of us were going out at night and, you know, we'd wander around and find those amazing little tapas bars, and we got our regular place where we'd stop and have one last drink and an ice cream on the way back home before, you know, collapsing into bed and ready to do it all again the next day. Those nights were amazing. You know, it was just fabulous.
Yeah,
really
we
cool.
had a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Sue? What was your standout moment?
I loved exploring the cities, like seeing the palaces that we went to. Sharon and I went to the museum and the art gallery, and we went on the buses. We went around the town, the hop-on, hop-off buses, and that was so easy to see the towns going around like that. Seeing the police horses, seeing the police. It was just the history, you know, just the beautiful architecture of the buildings was just, you know, the markets. What more can you say? Just the beautiful little restaurants, beautiful people, you know. Wow, I mean, everything about it was incredible, really, and how everything changed from the modern cities. But then we went to Carmona, which was different again. So it was more oldie weldy and lovely oldie weldy village type buildings. And that was so fascinating as well. Yeah.
What about you, Sharon?
And so,
yeah, I just love getting a really good cross section of Spain, I guess, like Madrid and the tapas and the cobblestone streets. And I have to say too, yeah, we were out late of an evening, and the temperature was lovely, and you never felt unsafe at all at any time. I thought I was brilliant. I got to use ready tellers overseas, and I learned to ride the hop-on, hop-off bus, and I'm out there. I'm a traveller now. Yeah, with Sue, like, you know, with the hop-on, hop-off bus, you just get to explore the city and the architecture. And yeah, I was really impressed with the galleries, the paintings that were hundreds of years old, and they just looked like they could have been done yesterday. They were just so amazing, really. Like, it's the sort of stuff, unless someone brings out an exhibition here, which I guess you don't bother to go and look at, you never see that sort of stuff at home. So that, and the food and the company and our little drinkies, which cost us nothing and got us to have a lot of fun every night.
No, that's great.
Yeah, the riding, yeah, that was what sort of tied us all together in like, while we joined the group, like we knew we had that common interest. So it was a great conversation starter, I guess. What's your horse like? And we're all bringing out our phones and showing everyone our horses and oohing and ahhing, which is a great icebreaker, I guess.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So I've got some photos now of our trip. I'll share those. I'll just go in and bring that up.
Oh, yes. Beautiful.
Sorry, I'm just... So we're in Madrid. We flew into Madrid. This is our Red Terra Park in central Madrid. It's the botanical gardens. It's quite beautiful. And this is the glass house. This is
So
the Temple of El Dod. It's another park in Madrid. And that's the Prado Museum. There's loads of art museums in Madrid, and the Retiro, the Prado. I'm just trying to think of, there was loads. I went to the Prado. It was pretty impressive. All the major art works are there.
That is stunning.
Yeah, now this is the Royal Palace of Madrid. This is the back entrance, but the front, you go in the front and it's beautiful, like the ceilings, and it's definitely worth a visit.
Oh, yeah.
There was Plaza Mayor, that was near our hotel. We quite often went there and had dinner in Madrid, outside at night. And then there's typical balconies with the flowers and that everywhere. On the Sunday before we left Madrid, we went to the El Rastro market. There was lots of different things that went for streets and streets. It was fabulous.
It was like a maze. It was incredible.
Yeah.
I wished I'd bought some of that jewelry.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, when we're in, we tended to have a lot of paella, a lot of seafood paella. It's beautiful.
Oh, so beautiful.
We went to the Mercado San Miguel market in Madrid. It's more like a tapas market, so you can go there and have your lunch or your dinner and buy little things, but you see a lot of jamon, which is on the meat, the ham, and that's everywhere.
Yeah, and all you need is like a pocket full of coins. Everything's just like
Because they're only
€2.
about €1 or something like that.
Yeah, for a glass of wine and something beautiful to eat. It was incredible.
And these, I'm not sure, this is pretty, I didn't try this, but this
I
was
did.
some sort of seafood.
I knew you would have been there.
It was so good.
Oh my God.
And some more tapas, antipastos. And there's the girls in the market.
Oh, yeah.
Went out for lunch, dinner. I think, yeah, we had paella and with the group. It was a gorgeous little restaurant. It was quite traditional.
Yeah, that was lovely.
And then we did a day trip to Toledo. You can catch the train or the bus, or there's organised tours as well, but we just caught the bus and then they dropped us off and then picked us up. It's a beautiful city. It's lots of cobbled streets, loads of different churches and different architecture. And it was well worth it. And I recommend, if anyone's going to Madrid, make sure you get to Toledo.
Oh, I loved
It
it.
was so easy to get there, and I absolutely loved it. It was one of those old world fortress towns right up on the top of a hill with the big walls and moat bridges and lovely little cobblestone streets. And that's where I had my gazpacho soup for lunch, and yeah, I absolutely adored it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I loved it there. It was so
We
beautiful.
nearly got lost coming back to the bus.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Another town quite close to Madrid is Segovia, and it's an amazing town. It's got a big Roman water aqueduct, and there's the cathedral, which is really beautiful, and they've also got a castle that's very similar. The Spanish did tell me that it's the castle in Disneyland's modeled after it. But I've been to a few castles that they've said that to me now, so I'm not quite sure. But yeah.
That's like when you see the oldest pub in the country and then you see 6 more.
So when you're traveling to Spain, there's numerous airlines that fly from Australia to Madrid and also Barcelona. The best way to travel from Madrid to Seville is by train. It takes about 2 hours, 20 minutes, and it's quite an easy way. And at the front of the carriage, they have an area for you to have put your luggage, and there's a man that normally comes through, and you can buy food on the train if you want, or take it on the train. There are a few airlines that fly between Madrid and Seville, mainly the Iberian Airlines. The flight time's about an hour, but I think the train's just as nice.
And it was like no other train
the
food.
train-
It was
yeah.
actually beautiful food.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a relaxing trip, and you
And
got
you
to
could
see
see
the
the
countryside.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. It was lovely.
yeah.
And there's quite a few domestic and low-cost airlines in the area. So if you're wanting to connect from Seville or Madrid to Lisbon or Barcelona, there's plenty. And this is a hotel that we stayed in Cremona, the Alcázar de la Reina. It's a 4-star. It was gorgeous. It had a beautiful hall.
Yeah.
An amazing, overlooked the countryside, and and the rooms are really pretty. Yeah.
Oh, it was so beautiful. When we walked in there, I felt like we'd stepped up.
Yeah.
we were going somewhere really special.
Couldn't
Stepped
believe
up,
it.
stepped up, but stepped back in time as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
a little
exactly.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that pool every
Amazing.
afternoon after we'd been riding all day, and you'd go and have a quick shower and freshen up, and then just lounge around in that pool before we'd go out for tapas. That was amazing.
So deep and so cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the town, a lot of the Andalusian towns, they're whitewashed towns. They're all on hillsides. So they've got these big forts, but obviously a lot of the forts have worn away, but there's quite a few still old walls and that in Cremona. And you see a lot of history, and you could spend a day just wandering around.
Definitely.
That was our favourite place to go for dinner most nights. It was just around the corner from the hotel.
So lovely. They were so beautiful there.
Yeah, food was lovely.
It was incredible.
So we went to Apona Equestrian Centre. I also offer trail riding holidays, but Apona specialises in mainly dressage, and they offer like 7-day trips. They have the train and trail with the 4 lessons and 4 trail rides, and they also have a classic and intensive dressage training weeks. And they have Rafael Soto clinics. Now, he was a former Olympic silver medalist at the Greece Olympics, and he's also the chief instructor at the Spanish riding school. He does clinics, and he also comes and does 1 lesson when you do the classic.
He was so lovely. He was such a lovely man.
Yeah. So here we all are, all ready to go. Now, Apona's recently moved, so that background won't be the same, but the new place is just as lovely, but it's just around the corner, just up the road. The Roman Bridge, when you go out trail riding. Then some dressage in the indoor. They've got a new indoor at their new place.
Oh, wow.
Then you're out.
Going down to the beach.
Us riding to the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
Then on the beach. Yeah. And then
there we are.
When we went in September, so it's sort of summer, so it's quite brown. But if you wanted to go when the poppies and the sunflowers, and it's a lot greener, April, May is a really nice time to go. It's still getting warm, and then we've also the group. We're with Rafael Soto. He was there, and we all just stood round together and took a photo. Now, this is the Spanish Riding School in Jerez. It's open on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and I'd recommend going at 10 o'clock because they have like a video and talks about the history of the Spanish Riding School, and then you can wander around the palace, and beautiful palace. There's a museum underneath, and out the back they've got a saddlery and a few other things to look at. And also they've got an arena where you can watch the riders warming up. This was just a rider warming up and people queuing to go inside. But the show usually starts at 12 and probably goes for about an hour and a half, or is it an hour? Yeah. And it's only, I think, 27 euros, so it's quite reasonable.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
This is inside the arena. You're not actually allowed to take photos, but there was no riders at the time. So when you go to the Vienna riding school in Vienna, they've got lots of big pillars, so they tend to get in the road, whereas this is quite very open and they can get carriages inside. So it's really quite easy to see everything, and yeah, it's good.
Oh, it was perfect. We were right there in the front row.
Yeah. So this is the Mercado. It's another market. It's a tapas market. It's just been fairly recently renovated, and you go around and you choose your tapas and you drink, and you can go and get something from one restaurant and then from another. It's quite lovely.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's right on the river there. It's just gorgeous.
And there's the group on the Friday. On the Friday, we all went to Seville, and we go and do the flamenco dancing, and then we went and had dinner at that restaurant I just showed. It's the flamenco dancing.
They were incredible. They were just amazing.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah.
And also that I've discovered this last time I was there, the Plaza De Spanis. It's just beautiful. It's near the park, and I think it's government buildings, but it's well worth a look. And just,
all the mosaics there were incredible.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Tiles, and there was a river.
Yeah.
In the Alcazar, and it's very Muslim, lots of tiles, and it was beautiful, and it had gardens. That was lovely too.
Yeah.
The Seville Cathedral is one of the best cathedrals in Spain, and well worth a visit as well. That's quite close to the El Real Alcazar. And if you're going to Spain and you're going in May, try and tie it in with going to the Jerez Horse Fair. It's usually on the first or second week of May, and you can just stay in Seville and just take the train down. It's only an hour each way, and you can pop in a taxi. And if you go in the morning, you can go to the Spanish riding school beforehand, and the show starts at noon, because the fair doesn't start till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then all the riders and all the carriages start arriving. They have like little casitas, which are like little restaurants with a bar and sell food. So you can go in there and have something to eat, and then just watch everything. It's just amazing.
That was truly incredible. I've never seen anything even remotely like it. It was so beautiful. And
then like they've got like streets and that, and they just go up and parade up and down, and they have got a fairground with lots of rides, but they don't tend to start till the evening. And then little kids all dressed up really cute on the horses, and people riding up and down all dressed up. And then there's some ladies, lots of ladies dressed in their beautiful traditional flamenco dresses. And then there's just some standing at the bar.
Yeah. It really was incredible. It's just, it's overwhelmingly beautiful. It was just amazing.
So if anyone wants any more information on Spain, just send me an email to info@snaffletravel.com.au, and I'll just check to see if there was any. I forgot to see if anyone wanted any questions, but I'll just have a little look. I've just got Serena Middleton. Sue, amazing presentation, girls. You've totally sold me on Spain. Louise, enjoying your trip memories, ladies.
Yes.
And one of my clients, Wendy, was meant to go this year. so disappointed that COVID has changed so many of our travel dreams. This has always been on my bucket list with Tina. Okay, I'd love to thank you so much for giving up your time. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And I'm sure everyone's really enjoyed listening to what you've had to say. So we're going, I'm going monthly. So next month on the second Wednesday in October, I'm talking to Helen Christie. She's a chief eventing steward for the Tokyo Olympics, and she's been to 5 Olympics and 2 World Equestrian Games as an official. So we're going to have a chat to her. So thanks for listening, and have a great day. Evening.
Hello.
That's it, we're done.